Please note that this content is for adults only. Viewer discretion advised. If you haven't yet, hit the subscribe, like, and share. Hello everyone and welcome back to another live stream with me, Grizzly. This is Grizzly True Crime and we are here to watch the sentencing of Jarvis Butts together, which took place today on March 12th of 2026. This is something that I've been waiting a long time for, justice for Annette Harris, okay? And I was actually planning to cover this trial, but he chickened out of a trial entirely last minute, much like Stefan Stearns, and I compare the two because they've got similar crimes. He pleaded guilty last minute and there was no trial. So, yes, I want to quickly show you where you can find tons of deep dives, okay, on this case. I have a playlist for you, and it's called Annette Harris, that's the victim's name, Jarvis Butts trial, okay? So, well, it says trial. I'll update that to just Jarvis Butts. There was no trial, unfortunately, but if you have a look at this playlist, you can see we have done a lot of deep dives. There's hours worth of content here, jam-packed with information, so please go and check that out. I am, of course, going to offer you a recap because I don't know how many of you are familiar with the case, or maybe you just need a refresher. So we're going to do a quick refresher, then we're going to watch the sentencing. I will also tell you that the sentencing the feed was cut worldwide because there was a fight broke out in the courtroom and the bailiffs had to come in and escort people out, and the aunt said some things you shouldn't have said, and I don't know, all sorts of things, which of course they have the right to express themselves, but it was something legal. So we're going to watch as much. I've collected as many clips as possible, the main part of the sentencing, and as it cuts, then I see that Court TV's uploaded what I think is the rest when Jarvis Butts was actually sentenced. So we're going to watch all of that together. Make sure you like and share so others can also find this live stream. If you, and this update, of course, because we've been waiting for this update, if you can't find the playlist for any reason, it's in the description box. You can find it in my playlist section. Just type in Jarvis Butts Grizzly True Crime and you will find it, okay? Now, trigger warning, this case absolutely comes with a trigger warning. It involves not only the murder of a young girl, but the sexual abuse of her and many other victims, okay? So, let us quickly begin with our recap. Annette Harris is the victim in this case. Annette Harris was born on September 16th of 2010 in Detroit, Michigan. Her mother is Kenyatta Harris and her father is Mervyn. Her parents had her grandmother, Annette Harris, legally adopt her. She was 13 years old when she was last seen on January 9th of 2024. Her body has never been found, and Jarvis Butts has not revealed where her body is, unfortunately. Now, I don't know if he ever will. I hope he will, but you know, you just don't know with these types. So if you look at the little, I don't know what to call that, diagram I've made for you, just of the family tree, we've got Annette Harris, the bio grandmother. She was Annette Harris's legal guardian, and she's also got 2 foster kids. And she's the mother of Kenyatta, Shannon, and Markita. Kenyatta is Annette's mother. And the father is Mervyn Jenkins. So they had Annette, right? Kenyatta then has a sister, 2 sisters, Shannon and Markita. That would be Annette's aunts. Jarvis Butts had pretty much kids with all these people. 5 kids with Shannon. He had 2 kids with Angel Leonard, 1 daughter with a Latricia, Latasha and kids as well. Tijuana, fiance, no kids with her. There's a girlfriend, Regine Rushing. And these are the locations I put there next to the names of where they were. And then there's a Tanisha Butts. Then another important figure in this case is the business partner of Jarvis Butts, the Cordell Wright. Talasha, his son's aunt. So there's a whole family tree going on here. If you want a deeper dive and a slower version of this, again, please check out the playlist, right? All right, so I just quickly want to tell you, I'm just going to give you as quick of a recap as I can, okay? And then we're going to get to the sentencing. I just want to make sure that you all know what this is about. Now, this is Jarvis Ramon Butts, who got his whole butt handed to him today by the judge. Anyway, after accepting a plea deal, Jarvis Butts was born on November 21st of 1982. He was in prison between 2003 and 2014, yes, that long already, for criminal sexual conduct in the third degree and weapons-related charges. He met Shannon Harris, Naziah's aunt, approximately 12 years ago. So likely when he was released from prison and had 5 children with her. Now it would be 13 years ago, right? He has at least 13 children. Jarvis was arrested on September 27th of 2024, and he was charged with the murder of 13-year-old Naziah Harris, plus criminal sexual conduct and CSAM charges involving Naziah and 2 other victims. He pleaded not guilty to all the charges and was in the Wayne County Jail on no bond. He has recently now pleaded guilty again, right? Like, he pleaded not guilty at first, and we went through preliminary hearings. We watched that whole thing together. It was frightening, the information that came out from that, the preliminary hearings. The judge then bound it over to trial and all of that. If you haven't seen that, you gotta go check some of that out, right? Okay, so here's a quote from a prosecutor. The evidence in this case will clearly show that the defendant's alleged actions were beyond predatory. They were vulturous. He groomed and preyed upon Naziah with expertise. We will prove that he killed young Naziah after he found out that she was pregnant at 13 with his child, said prosecutor Kim Worthy. Okay. And so, from September of 2022, Jarvis was sending Naziah sexually explicit messages. September 2023, she told Jarvis that she had missed her period. She also texted him about her stomach hurting. In November of 2023, Jarvis knew she was pregnant. December 8th to 11th of 2023, his phone records showed that he searched online about abortions, abortion pills, and drinking red antifreeze. Note, 2 to 4 tablespoons of red antifreeze can be fatal to children. Symptoms could develop within 24 to 72 hours. Red antifreeze, which typically contains ethylene glycol or propylene glycol as the primary ingredient, is often described as having a sweet taste. This sweetness is due to the glycol compounds which makes antifreeze unfortunately attractive to children and animals, increasing the risk of accidental ingestion. However, the taste can also be slightly bitter or have an unpleasant aftertaste depending on the additives and inhibitors included in the formulation. Pictures on the right, we've got Jarvis Butts. Next to him, the victim Naziah Harris. Thank you to Grizzly Cat for the beautiful pictures of the victim in this case. We've got the aunts as well there with Jarvis Butts. Okay, you can go on the deep dive on the playlist with that, right? So Cordell King Wright. Cordell Wright, nicknamed King, is 38 years old, so I think now he'd be 39. He was born on November 17th of 1986. He met Jarvis in 2018. They worked at 2 Frank's car repair shops first, and then in May of 2023, they reopened an auto repair shop together. He was arrested for domestic violence in 2019. He was sentenced in 2021, and he's been in and out of prison for weapons-related and assault charges from 2008 to present date. He's currently incarcerated at the Central Michigan Correctional Facility. The mugshot is from May 30th of 2024. I think he's still incarcerated. I'm not too sure. I didn't follow up on that. January 9th of 2024. Quick timeline recap. Naziah, who was in 8th grade, took the bus to J.E. Clark Preparatory Academy in Detroit. She was last seen wearing a white sweater with a black jacket over it, a colorful Rugrats puffy jacket with a fur-lined hood, light blue jeans, Nike shoes, clear frame glasses, and had her hair in 2 braided puff balls, as you can see in the picture on the bottom right. Her grandmother had recently pulled her out of aftercare, and she would normally be home between 3 and 5 p.m. On that day, Naziah's substitute teacher said that she seemed sad or upset about something, that she lay on the floor and asked for a counselor, but the counselor didn't come to see her. The lunch lady, who spoke to Naziah daily, said she also noticed that she was down or not herself that day. She took a picture with a DPS-issued tablet that day. This is the last photo of her ever taken. Photo bottom right. Okay, so at 2:21 p.m. on this day, January 9th, 2024, she texted Jarvis, "Don't forget, be there before 3. I'll let you know when I'm leaving the school. If you're not there, I will wait." At 2:22 p.m., send OK if you've seen the message so I can delete your number. 2:23 p.m., Jarvis replied, "OK." No text messages ever again after that between them. There is video of her walking in the neighborhood after getting off the school bus that afternoon at approximately 2:54 p.m. We've watched that together. It's on the playlist. Go check it out. Now, Cordell's timeline for January 9th. Cordell says that he saw Jarvis's kids and niece at the shop sporadically, as well as his sister. He said sometimes the kids would spend the day at the shop, sometimes they'd come to do some chores or get some money. He didn't see Naziah alone at the shop. She usually had her cousin with her until January 9th of 2024. There's a car wash and a gas station right next to their auto repair shop. Cordell was on tether from March 14th of 2023 to March 28th of 2024. He left his home around 6 a.m. and had to be home by 9 p.m. every day. On January 9th of 2024, he said that Jarvis was out for a little bit that day, likely in court for his January 9th hearing that got postponed to sentencing on February 7th of 2024. That afternoon, that's for other charges, right? That afternoon, they drove to AutoZone to pick up a water pump. And then, when they were returning to the shop, they realized they forgot something, turned around, and went to go get it. On the way back to the shop, Jarvis spotted his niece, pregnant 13-year-old Naziah. They pulled into Angel's, a liquor store, and Naziah hopped in the truck. Jarvis was driving. You guys remember me covering it. Thank you, Karen. Thank you all for being here. When they got to the shop, Cordell hopped out of the truck and continued to work on the Jaguar of his son's grandmother. Jarvis and Naziah stayed in the vehicle for a bit. Naziah got into the front seat. The truck was running, and she was warming herself up. It was a bit cold that day. Cordell said that she was playing on her cell phone. The truck ran out of gas, so Jarvis and Cordell pushed it to the gas station. Cordell asked Jarvis if he was going to drop Naziah off because he felt that having her there was a distraction from the work they were doing, and Jarvis said no. Jarvis's sister testified that she was at the shop from 4 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. and believes that she saw Naziah getting in and out of the truck. Jarvis said that she was Cordell's niece. Well, at 6:38 p.m., Jarvis, Cordell, and Naziah drove to Ypsilanti. Jarvis and Naziah in the Jaguar and Cordell in his truck, and phone pings prove these times and locations. It took about 35 minutes to get there, and they were there for about 15 minutes, from 7:02 to 7:22 p.m. Cordell's son's aunt, Talasha, saw Naziah there. They got back to the shop at approximately 8:28 p.m. Cordell said it was approximately 8:45 p.m. and he left home to be home by 9 p.m. on tether. So he left there around 8:45 and he never saw Naziah again. Jarvis's phone was in the area of his home on Wilshire Road around 8:48 p.m. and 8:59 p.m. This is almost like closing arguments for you, you know what I mean? We're here at closing arguments and we're going to go to sentencing after this, okay? We're just recapping what we've covered before, especially for new people to the case. At 9 p.m., he drove to Car Swap with Latricia. He took her blue Nissan Sentra and said he was taking his son somewhere. So he has all these girlfriends all over the place, all the baby mamas, okay? Sorry, that's what he said, right? Okay, and he's going to get the one lady's car and like, can I use your car for something? He checked into the Park Crest Motel at 20,000 Harper at 9:30 p.m. There's phone location and receipt and sign-in sheet evidence that we haven't quite seen yet, but they showed some of this at the preliminary hearing, right? His phone pinged at the motel from 10:52 p.m. and 12:37 a.m. January 10th. So it goes from January 9th, 10:52 p.m., clocking over past midnight on January 10th. At 1:11 a.m., his phone pinged at 4 East Alexandrine. Now, we've done plenty of map time on this as well, so go check that out too on the playlist. On January 10th of 2024, where was Jarvis between 1:11 a.m. and 8 a.m.? Between 8 a.m. and 8:30 a.m. on January 10th of 2024, Jarvis returned Latricia's car to her. Naziah was reported missing to the school this morning. The dean and the principal called the school police with Annette present. Naziah's attendance was marked as present in error that day. That sucks, huh? Jarvis did not go to work that day, according to Cordell. Jarvis checked out of the motel at noon on January 10th of 2024. Latricia says that when she went to the shop the next day after picking her son up from school so that Jarvis could see his daughter, and her son was in the back of the vehicle, the son was playing with clear glasses, which she took from him. Jarvis then snatched those clear glasses from her and said that they are his sons, which I think we all know. That's very likely. That's probably Naziah's glasses, you know? So Jarvis asked Latricia if he could use her vehicle again, and then he said he would not be long, not as long as the last time. He said he was taking his son somewhere, and she says she can't remember if that was January 10th or 11th, and she says he was gone for 2 to 3 hours. So the reason this was all shared is also because no one knows where her body is. Still not, okay? January 10th of 2024, at 10:51 p.m., Jarvis's phone is around Greenfield and 7 Mile. Between 11:40 p.m. on January 10th and 1:34 a.m. on January 11th, the phone is in the area where Naziah's clothing is later found. So even though they didn't find her body, they found items of her clothing. Naziah's shoes, jumpsuit, hoodie were found on March 14th of 2024. And just look how scary some of that evidence looks. There were stains on it and all sorts of things, right? Again, if you want a deeper dive, you've got to check out the playlist. I'll stop saying that now. Jarvis turned himself in on February 7th of 2024 for a weapons-related charge and would have been in prison until December of 2024. So I think he thought by turning himself in for that charge, he's going to be in the clear. But you're not. February 14th of 2024, the Detroit police held a press conference. We watched that together. On September 27th of 2024, Jarvis Butts was charged with the murder of Naziah Harris plus SA charges. Okay? Where is Naziah? We still don't know where her body is. I really hope that her body will be found so she can be put to rest with dignity. I don't know what he has done. A preliminary examination, which we watched together in January 2025, it feels like yesterday, revealed more details about the alleged motive and the evidence leading the case to advance to trial. However, on February 12th of 2026, Jarvis Butts pleaded guilty to second-degree murder of Naziah Harris, as well as 4 counts of second-degree criminal sexual conduct and 1 count of third-degree criminal sexual conduct across 6 total cases. Thank you, Forrest Nelson. Several original charges, including the first-degree murder and child SA material, were dismissed as part of the plea deal. So, March 12th, that's today of 2026, he was sentenced to 35 to 60 years in prison for the second-degree murder of Naziah Harris. He also received 10 to 15 years for each of the 5 criminal sexual conduct charges, all to be served concurrently with the murder sentence, which means he's 43 years old and he will serve a term of 35 to 60 years. All right, so that's that recap. Now I'm going to show you the sentencing. Before I do, I just quickly want to show you the paperwork so that you could see it. There's the paperwork. Thanks, Grizzly Cat. She works so fast. She saw this live stream and here we've got documents. So, Jarvis Butts enters guilty plea in 6 cases. Okay, so here you can see the proof. They were going to watch the sentencing, which buckle up because it gets very, obviously the family is very emotional, right? Press release February 12th of 2026, Jarvis Butts enters guilty plea in 6 cases. As you can see, it says this morning at the pre-trial conference before Judge Nicholas Hathaway, that's the one who sentences him, defendant Butts pleaded guilty in 6 cases with a sentence agreement of 35 to 60 years for second-degree murder, 10 to 15 years for 4 counts of second-degree criminal sexual conduct, and 10 to 15 years for 1 count of third-degree criminal sexual conduct, all to be served concurrently in the Michigan Department of Corrections. Sentencing is scheduled for March 12th. That's what happened today. I was waiting for it. And you know what? The universe had my back because the Corey Richards trial ended early today, so we could watch this. We could watch this together today. So glad. Before Judge Nicholas Hathaway. So, case. Okay, trigger warning, right? Trigger warning. A then 7-year-old female victim. In fact, I literally have to put the trigger warning on the screen. Hold on, because this is wild. It's so scary what he did. Defendant pleaded guilty to 1 count of second-degree criminal sexual conduct with a sentence agreement of 10 to 15 years in the MDOC to run concurrent with these other cases. Okay, so there's a then 7-year-old victim, a then 4-year-old victim, Naziah Harris. You pleaded guilty to 1 count of second-degree murder with a sentence of 35 to 60 years. A then 8 or 9-year-old female victim, a then 13-year-old female victim, a then 8-year-old victim. So, you know the Stefan Stearns, Madeline Soto's case? Stefan Stearns. This is like a Stefan Stearns, but there's so many other victims that we know about. Stefan Stearns could have had other victims. However, this case, it's so horrifying. And he also abused, a lot of these victims are his own children, because he had at least 13 children, right? Deb said, poor Nazaya, thank you, G, for all your hard work and dedication for this amazing community. I love being a Grizzly, best known YouTuber. Thank you so much for being a member for 29 months. So there you go. The age range of the victims, Shaman. And here you could see his chicken scratch, or his scribble, for what he pleaded guilty to, prosecuting attorney. There, he signed it. Okay. So now let's go and watch the sentencing, shall we? And all the drama that unfolded today in the courtroom.
7. Okay. All I would like from you, Ms. Ripley, is it does not matter to me what order they go. Just indicate which docket number they will be addressing the court on. Okay?
Yes, Judge.
And whenever you're ready.
I believe first we will have Ms. Annette Harris.
So if you are going to be addressing the court here today, you're going to come right through the center door, and you're going to go to the side of the courtroom nearest the prosecutor's table there, and you're going to have a seat in this chair directly next to me, and then I'll explain some ground rules to you before you can speak.
And Judge, for the record, that's going to be on case ending in 218.
218, thank you. Yes.
So this is Annette Harris, the biological grandmother of Nazaya, who was the legal guardian, right?
Good afternoon, ma'am. So I just wanted to explain a few things to you. That red illuminated device in front of you, yes, that's a microphone. It's also a recording device. And I see that you have a written copy of the statement. Okay. So when you are done, if you could just provide a copy of that, perhaps to the prosecutor's office, so we can make a copy of that, okay? And then you can sit or stand, however you would like to do it. Just make sure that you're keeping your voice nice and loud and clear for us. If you could just first state and spell your name.
Excuse me. Annette Harris, ANNETTEHARRIS.
Thank you, ma'am. And there are Kleenex there if needed, whenever you're ready.
To the Honorable Judge Nicholas John Hathaway in the Wayne County Circuit Court. Good morning. I would like to thank the court for giving me the opportunity to speak as I stand here before you to address the concerns that me and my family have. It has been 2 years and 2 months since I reported Nazaya missing. I want you to know that my life will never be the same. My family's life will never be the same without Nazaya. And every day that I wake up with her, I wake up feeling depressed. It's another day without her. I love her and I miss her dearly. I can't tell her that because her life was I can't tell her that because her life was taken from her. Words cannot express just how much me and my family really miss and love Nazaya. This has impacted my life and my family's life. There are days when I don't want to get out of bed. I wake up feeling depressed. I don't want to talk to anybody, to anyone, just get me out of bed. to do the basic everyday things that I miss, I'm sorry. I don't want to get out of bed. I wake up feeling depressed. I don't want to talk to anyone. Just getting out of bed to do the basic everyday things that I need to get done. This has affected my health. I am seeing more than one doctor about my health, including seeing the therapist. I don't feel safe in my home. My address and my phone number has been put on social media. People have been driving by, taking pictures of my home. I have been threatened. My family have been threatened. Pictures taken of me and my family following me in my car. Pictures posted. Setting up GoFundMe raises in Nazaya's name without my permission. This has also affected me financially. And other people doing podcast shows, emailing me.
Sorry, I know it's a little difficult to hear exactly what she's saying, but she's saying she doesn't feel safe in her home, that people set up a GoFundMe without her consent, and all of that. But I will just say for those new to the case that there were a lot of questions for this grandmother. Because it was the school that reported Nazaya missing, you know what I mean? There was a lot. Go check out the playlist if you want a deeper dive and look at the preliminary hearing we watched together, and it's like, huh. There definitely were questions asked. That's why some people, they know that and they're expressing that in chat.
I don't know. I'm sorry.
Take your time, man.
Shut up.
Anybody else want to leave? There is a courtroom, 206 down the hallway. You can observe this proceeding. You can't go yourself.
Oh dear. There's already action in the courtroom. Oh my. See, there's people angry in the courtroom already even about this, like right now. Because this grandmother, remember the family tree I showed you? She's the mother of Nazaya's 2 aunts as well. And the one was dating Jarvis and having children with Jarvis, 5 children, but they all knew that he was a SO, a S offender. But then like welcomed him into the home where there were lots of children. Ooh dear.
So, man, in the ring, and then black. Let's go. That's ours. That's ours. Let's go. Please remain quiet. Quiet in the court!
Shut the fuck up!
Oh, wait.
An additional reminder, if you're going to have difficulty controlling yourself, now would be a good time to leave.
Sir, can you suggest that?
Damn. They don't even pan the camera to that side, huh? But you can hear people are like very upset. This is already a very upsetting case, very emotionally charged, but like big questions for the grandma, big division everywhere, lot of heat. So
I'm sorry, were you through, ma'am?
No, guys, I'm going to finish reading the written statement for.
Oh, very good. You can return to your seat now.
Well, that was hectic. Hey, Breezel, Metal, say go cry somewhere else. Grandma, Aaron says quite hectic. It's quite hectic, huh? I think a lot of people did not appreciate those victim impact statements, especially when it was almost all about the grandma, you know, well, like, this is what happened to me and all that, not about Nazai so much, you know what I mean? Anyway, yeah, just so that you know why this drama. Now let's see who's next, and then things got so out of hand, they literally cut the feed. There are portions of the sentencing hearing missing. Thankfully, we can see where the judge actually sentenced Jarvis Butts after that.
Mr. Makepeace, you can let her get situated and then you can proceed. Yes.
So the grandmother that we just saw, she has many children, including Nazai's mother, 2 other daughters. Those daughters, Nazai's aunts, were both. One had 5 children with Jarvis Butts. The other one was having sex with Jarvis Butts too. It's like, it was really quite something. And all of them knew that he had, because you saw from the beginning of the stream how long he had been in prison before. They all knew he was a registered SO. So not only to make kids with him, but to have him around kids, including Nazaya, you know? So, yeah.
Whenever you're ready.
Thank you, Judge. I'm going to go where I remember her stopping. Posting pictures, setting up GoFundMe fundraisers in Nazai's name without my permission. This has also affected me financially, and people doing podcast shows, emailing me, people that I don't know coming to my home, knocking on my door constantly. This is really hard and has been very painful for me, and I pray to God that no one and no other family will ever have to endure what me and my family have endured. This deserves attention and ongoing awareness to other families and people so that this does not happen to anyone and other families like this has happened to me and my family. And that would be the conclusion of the statement from Annette.
Okay, sorry for sharing the lesson in this moment, but it's important. If you want to protect children, don't have a registered SO in the house around all the children. Don't make children with them either, because they probably just want to get to the children. Which in this case, I think it's only the tip of the iceberg, the charges that he pleaded guilty to. I think he's clearly abused many, many children, some say as young as infants.
Harris that was provided to my office and that she was reading on the statement.
Thank you. All right. Is there any additional complaint that will be addressing in court on file ending in 218?
Yes.
Okay. Why don't we have that person go next?
It's Shannon Harris.
Or Ms. Harris in court?
Then Markita Harris.
Guys, the aunts are going to talk? No wonder this got out of hand. Oh my goodness, really? Let's quickly see this little presentation here. Look, I'll show you again. There's Nazaya, right? The bio grandmother's the one who just made the first victim impact statements. She has got daughters Kenyatta, Shannon, Markita. So if Shannon, I think Shannon and Markita are twins. Jarvis was dating, having sex with, all of that, making children with Shannon, having sex with the twin as well, all these other people, and all of that. So, whoa, if the aunts are gonna, you're telling me that Shannon and Markita are gonna have victim impact statements now? Ooh, this is gonna get wild.
So again, ma'am, you can make your way right up here.
I don't know why why the twins are going to make victim impact statements? You know what I mean. Don't. Oh, my word, here we go.
Seat, or you can stand, however you're most comfortable. Again, that red illuminated device, it's a microphone and a recording device. Just try to direct your voice into that. And if you could just state and spell your name, please.
My name is Markita Harris, M-A-R-K-E-T-T-A. Last name, Harris, H-A-R-R-I-S.
Thank you. And ma'am, you also have a prepared statement?
Yes.
If you wouldn't mind just providing a copy to the prosecutor's office for the court file following the hearing today, okay?
Okay.
Thank you. Whenever you're ready.
Good afternoon, everyone. It has been 2 years, 2 months, 3 days since we heard, seen, or even physically touched Ms. I. This has tremendously affected my family and I mentally, physically, and emotionally. Since this case started, we have been physically assaulted in public, cyberbullied, harassed, stalked, and so much more. I became homeless, lost several jobs in the past 2 years. My life, my family life, will never be the same as you. You have taken something so precious from us, and we'll never give back. Every morning, every day, every month, and every day, I have to remind myself that my niece, Nazaya, isn't coming back. Our life will never be the same again. Justice is deserved. You're still able to live. You're still able to get health care. You're still able to breathe without any remorse. You are a habitual serial predator. You have taken my kid's favorite cousin. You have taken my first daughter before I had my own. I hate you. I was nothing but the worst for you. I despise you. My children were removed from my care temporarily because of you. My children's behavior has changed because of you. You have gave the world a whole story to talk about, but today we're here to tell you how this made us feel. Justice will never be served. Going back to the house where Nazaya lived doesn't feel the same anymore. I don't sleep at all anymore. I recommend that the court give him the electric chair if that's what Michigan, if we have it. A life for a life. We will never know her last words. We will never know if she suffered in pain. I can't really say or express how I really feel to this whole tragic situation. Since January 9th, 2024 will be the day I'll never forget, the day that I got the call that she never came back home. I never live with myself. I'll never be able to hear her voice. I'll never be able to physically touch her. I'll never be able to see her smile. I'll never be able to get to hold her again. I'll never be able to get to listen to her, see her smile. I'll never get to see her tell me stories of what her day went on about school. I'll never get to have that chance ever again because of you. Hurts.
Okay, Mr. Makepeace, Mr. Plea, who will be going next?
And there sits Jarvis Butts. My word, I wonder who is calling him in jail, topping up his commissary. I want to know that, huh? Anyway, there he sits. We're going to get to the sentencing next, but first there's one more victim impact statement, and this is when the feed was cut.
Judge, I believe next would be Ms. Tijuana Butts.
which file number?
218.
218.
He's 43 years old.
Come right around here, ma'am. Good afternoon. So you can have a seat or you can stand, however you're most comfortable. Just state and spell your name first, please.
Okay. My name is Tijuana Butts. First name Tijuana. Last name Butts.
Do you have a prepared statement?
I do not, sir.
That's fine. Okay, thank you. Whenever you're ready.
I don't have a prepared statement because I had no plans to come here today. I've been battling with myself on what is the right thing to do, what is the wrong thing to do. I'm here today for Naziah and for my nieces and the other victims that my brother has harmed. Got up this morning with every intention on going to work because for the last 2 years I have to go back to that day that I saw a little girl that I did not know, that I had never seen. And I wish that it was a sign that she was okay, and I believe that she was someone else's niece. And I had no reason not to believe what my brother said to me. That day will forever haunt me because I go back to like, why was I there? Why didn't I know? Why was there no sign? However, I'm a firm believer in God, and I do believe that sometimes we are put in places that we don't want to be in, even if we don't know why. And I feel like I was put there that day to be a voice for Naziah and for every other child that my brother has harmed. I believe that Naziah's story brought a lot of the other victims out to the forefront. And sitting in the courtroom today, there are many Naziahs and many other victims that are unfortunately being harmed right now at this moment. And people are turning a blind eye to it. People are not paying attention. We need to do better with our families as a community and protecting our children from monsters, from the very people who are supposed to love them and protect them. I don't know why my brother has turned into the person that is in this courtroom today. This is not who I remember as a child. I remember the little boy that used to follow me everywhere, that always wanted to protect me, even though I'm older than him. My brother knows that I've been a victim of sexual assault. My brother knows that I've been molested at a very young age. And he knows the pain it caused. I can't understand why he would want to cause that to an innocent child. Not just Naziah, but to his own children that have his face. I hope that every victim and my nieces and nephews can heal from the things that my brother has done. For the last 2 years, I've been drugged on social media. My family has been put all over a lot of platforms, including my children, my grandchildren. People are posting
At this point, in 10 seconds, the feed was cut.
places, the place that I work, and I work with children. I work with children because I had a hard time growing up. We did not have.
Literally right there. Done. When everyone was covering live, finished, cut the feed. So I think it was based on other allegations, other crimes that maybe his sister knows he committed that wasn't supposed to be said in the courtroom there that day on the record, right? That's what I've seen reported online, why they had to cut the feed. So
for 6 different cases today. Mr. Butts entered guilty pleas on all 6 of his cases, and there's sentence agreements negotiated on each one of his 6 files. Of course, it goes without saying that the offenses that Mr. Butts is here to be sentenced on are of the most serious nature. Mr. Butts has a criminal history dating back to 1997. He spent time in Michigan Department of Corrections previously for a criminal sexual conduct conviction following a plea he entered in 2005. Noteworthy that he was paroled sometime in 2012 and almost immediately returned to his criminal behaviors upon being paroled. And Mr. Butts, I hope that you have truly listened to all of the people who spoke here in open court and the impact that your inexcusable and horrendous behaviors have had on the lives of so many people. Mr. Butts, you're going to have many years to sit and dwell on your horrible actions. And it's often noted that justice is blind, but eventually, Mr. Butts, justice sees everything. As noted by both sides, these 6 cases are very complex with a lot of moving parts, and I know that the prosecutor's office and the defense team spend a lot of hours working on resolutions to these 6 matters, and I wanted to thank them for their efforts. I'm also hopeful that although the court could never make the victims of any of these crimes truly whole again, hopeful that the lengthy prison sentence being imposed today is going to bring about some needed closure for all of the victims and their families so that they can begin the healing process. So I'll go case by case, Mr. Butts. I'm going to start with file 25000218001FH. And Mr. Butts, for the offense of homicide, murder in the 2nd degree of Annette Harris, the court is going to sentence you consistent with the sentence agreement 35 to 60 years in the Michigan Department of Corrections. You're not to have any verbal, written, electronic, or physical contact with Annette Harris or any family members of Annette Harris. It's either directly through yourself or through any other third party. That includes all forms of social media as well. You're not to be within 500 feet of the residence, school, or place of employment. I have to assess $130 for the crime victim's assessment on that file, and I have to assess $68 state costs on that file as well. As a term and condition of that sentence agreement, you're also to make a truthful statement regarding the location of the body of Ms. Harris.
there you go. So he has to make a truthful statement about the location of the body of Annette Harris, or I would assume at least say what he did, where he disposed of her. Her body's never been found. For those only joining now, this is Jarvis Butts. He's 43 years old. He's about to be sentenced. He spent significant time in prison already for weapons charges and sexually abusing children, including his own children. Now, in this case, he took a plea deal he was going to be charged with first-degree murder. He was charged with first-degree murder of Annette Harris, who was 13 years old when she was last seen January 9th of 2024. And then he took a plea deal, and now he's pleaded guilty to 6 charges, including the second-degree murder of Annette Harris.
With regard to court costs and attorney's fees, I'll address that at the end once I've completed all of the files. Moving next into file 24002236001FH. Mr. Butts, for the offense of criminal sexual conduct in the 2nd degree, person under 13, defendant 17 or older, the court is going to sentence you consistent with the sentence agreement to 10 to 15 years in the Michigan Department of Corrections. You are going to be required to complete sexual abuse prevention, change, address verification, or change in your status with an institution of higher education. At each address change or verification period, you must present your Michigan driver's license or operator's license or personal identification card to the field agent at your first in-person contact. On that file, you're not to have any verbal, written, electronic, or physical contact with Michaela, M-I-K-A-Y-L-A, Jackson, or any of her family members, either directly or through any other third party, again, including all forms of social media, not to be within 500 feet of their residence, school, or place of employment. Again, I'm required to assess $130 of the crime victim's rights assessment and the $68 state cost. It's also required that there's lifetime electronic monitoring pursuant to MCL 750520. And again, I'll address court costs and attorney's fees at the end. Moving now to file number 24006232001FC. Mr. Butts, for the
Quickly pausing, I mean, all of this should have been in place already, right? Why was he allowed to be around so many children and create so many more children and have access to all these children that he abused?
Offense of criminal sexual conduct in the second degree, person under 13, defendant 17 or older, the court will sentence you to 10 to 15 years in the Michigan Department of Corrections. Again, you're going to be required to complete sexual abuse prevention programming or other treatment when you're referred by your field agent. You're going to be required to register under the Michigan Sex Offenders Registration Act and comply with all the requirements of the Act. Provide a copy of the Michigan Sex Offenders Registration Form to your field agent on your first in-person report following vacating your residence, any address change, address verification, or change in your status with an institution of higher education. At each address change or verification period, you must present your driver's license or state identification card to the agent at your first in-person contact. Again, you're not to have any verbal, written, electronic, or physical contact with Paris Bryant or her family members. It's either directly through yourself or through any third party. You're not to be within 500 feet of their residence, school, or place of employment. Again, I'm assessing $130 for the crime victim's assessment and $68 for the state cost. Again, he's going to have to comply with lifetime electronic monitoring pursuant to MCL 750520. All right, moving into file 25000241101FH, again for the offense of criminal sexual conduct, second degree, person under 13, defendant 17 or older. The court is going to sentence you consistent with the sentence agreement to 10 to 15 years in the Michigan Department of Corrections. Again, you're to complete sexual abuse prevention programming or other treatment when you're referred by your agent. Again, you're required to register under the Michigan Sex Offenders Registration Act and comply with all requirements of the Act, which have been stated here previously on the record. You're not to have any verbal, written, electronic, or physical contact with AHLECHE, Dinwiddie, DINWIDDIE, or her family members, either directly through yourself or through any other third party, not to be within 500 feet of the residence, school, or place of employment. Again, assessing $130 for the crime victim's assessment, $68 for the state costs. Again, there's mandatory lifetime electronic monitoring pursuant to 750520N. Moving into file 25004478001FH for the offense of criminal sexual conduct in the third degree, person 13 through 15. The court is going to sentence you consistent with the sentence agreement of 10 to 15 years in the Michigan Department of Corrections. Again, you're to comply or complete, sexual abuse prevention programming or other treatment when you're referred by your field agent. Again, you'll be required to register as under the Michigan Sex Offenders Registration Act. Terms and conditions have been noted on the record previously. You're not to have any verbal, written, electronic, or physical contact with Jaylen, J-A-Y-E-L-Y-N-N, White, common spelling, or her family, either directly or through any other third party. Again, you're not to be within 500 feet of their residence, school, or place of employment. Again, assessing $130 for the crime victim's assessment and $68 for the state costs. Additionally, you're to submit to HIV testing, complete counseling associated with HIV and AIDS, and you're to waive confidentiality and allow test results and medical information obtained from that test to be released to the court. And lastly, with regard to file 25006461101FC for the offense of criminal sexual conduct in the second degree, person under 13, defendant 17 or older, Again, consistent with the sentence agreement, the court will sentence you to 10 to 15 years in the Michigan Department of Corrections. Again, you're to complete sexual abuse prevention programming or other treatment when you're referred by your agent. Again, you're going to be required to register under the Michigan Sex Offenders Registration Act and comply with all requirements of the Act, which have been stated previously on the record. You are not to have any verbal, written, electronic, or physical contact with Janiyah, J-A-N-I-Y-A-H, Butts, or her family, either directly or through any other third party. You're not to be within 500 feet of the residence, school, or place of employment. Crime victims assessment, I'm going to assess the amount of $130 and state costs in the amount of $68. Again, lifetime electronic monitoring pursuant to MCL 750-520M. So defense has requested waiver of fees regarding court costs and attorney's fees. Do people have a position?
No position, leave it in the court's discretion.
All right, considering the lengthy prison sentence that the court is going to impose and the possibility of restitution being an issue, the court will waive court costs and attorney's fees, considering Mr. Butts is going to be spending foreseeable future in the Michigan Department of Corrections.
Thank you, Judge.
All right, jail credit. Let's talk about jail credit. All right.
I really wish it was LWOP, life without parole, given that he was already in prison before, got out, and did all this afterwards too. Like, just re-offended, but even worse. And killed a child. 13-year-old Annette Harris. Like, what? Anyway, so the total, based on all of this, so he was sentenced, now we're watching it now, 35 to 60 years in prison for the second-degree murder of Annette Harris. He also received 10 to 15 years for each of the 5 criminal sexual conduct charges. And unfortunately, those are all to be served concurrently, not consecutively. Like, why? He should never, ever, ever, ever have a chance of getting out, right? So this means he could get out at 78 or before that if he has to serve, I don't know, 75% of the time or 80. Oh, my word. Even then, he'll be dangerous.
Jail credit on file ending file 24223601. Mr. Butts will receive jail credit of 707 days. Jail credit on docket 24623201. He will receive jail credit of 531 days. Docket number 25021801 will receive jail credit of 531 days. Docket 2500241101 will receive jail credit of 531 days. Docket 254478 will receive jail credit of 255 days. And lastly, docket 256461101 will receive jail credit of 167 days to his respective Michigan Department of Corrections sentences, noting that the terms and conditions of this agreement are that all of those sentences are to run concurrently. All right. Attorneys, before I get to appellate rights, turn it over to you, Mr. McPeace.
Thank you, Judge. Just for the record, on file ending in 218, second-degree murder conviction, I know I placed this on the record last time, but all terms of that plea agreement have been satisfied.
Yes, thank you. All right. And Mr. Makepeace, were there counts being dismissed?
Oh. Yes. Ms. A.K. Ripley is more than prepared.
Very good. Ms. Ripley, if you could just kindly articulate, you can just do the last 4 of the respective file number.
Some counts were dismissed because of the plea deal, right? Mm-hmm.
With regard to the counts that are being dismissed consistent with the agreement.
Yes, Judge. Under case 2236, people are dismissing counts 2, 3, and 4 and withdrawing the habitual offender fourth offense notice. Under case 6232, people are agreeing to dismiss counts 1 and 3 and withdrawing the notice to enhance habitual offender fourth offense notice. On case ending in 0218, people are moving to dismiss counts 2, 3, and 4 and the notice to enhance habitual fourth offender notice. As to docket number 0241, people are moving to dismiss counts 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and withdrawing notice to enhance habitual fourth offense notice. And docket number 4478, people are moving to dismiss count 2 and withdrawing notice to enhance sentence habitual offender fourth offense notice. And finally, in docket number 6461, people are moving to dismiss counts 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And hold on, that one's not right, Judge.
Which file are you looking at, Ms. Ripley?
6461. I have it right here. Yeah, it's count 1, 2, 4, 5, and 6. He pled to count 3 and withdraw the habitual offender for defense notice.
That was it, correct?
Yes, Judge.
Thank you. To defense, I presume no objection.
No, that is correct.
All right, those counts and enhancements will be dismissed and or withdrawn consistent with the agreements. Mr. Butts, you do have some appellate rights, and counsel, has he been afforded with an appellate rights form?
He has been assigned.
And did we give him an appellate rights form for each one of his files?
Yes.
Great. All right, for purposes of the record, Mr. Butts, because you entered pleas with regard to your 6 cases, you would have 42 days to file an application requesting leave to appeal your various convictions and sentences if you wanted to do that. Mr. Butts, if you wanted an attorney to assist you with those applications and you could not afford an attorney, you have to request an attorney within 42 days. The court will then appoint you an attorney, provide them with portions of the record and any transcripts needed to assist you with those applications. So, Mr. Butts, you will go with the sheriffs here today. They will make sure that you make your way back to the Wayne County Jail, and ultimately you will find your way to the appropriate Michigan Department of Corrections facility. That being noted, attorneys, is there anything additional for today's record?
Not for the people, Judge.
Not on behalf of the defense, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right, we're all going to exit this courtroom in an orderly fashion. You're going to listen to the sheriffs in Brown. They're going to direct traffic with
Oh,
regard
boy.
to getting out. What I would say is don't move until you're directed to move. Thank you.
Okay, so
That'll
let's see,
conclude the
2
record.
seconds.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you, Judge.
There he goes. My goodness. I know you can't judge a book by its cover. It's just when you see him, you cannot imagine what he's accused of doing and 2 children, right? Now, I just quickly want to say, MJ Meadows said Tijuana Butts and Jarvis's daughter, Janaya, both gave their statement, then it was interrupted. So how it was reported, because I was busy with the Corey Richardson thing earlier, right? When I was catching up on what happened to the courtroom feed, they said that they switched to other news because of something that was said in the courtroom or something that wasn't supposed to be shown on camera. How old is his daughter now? Remind me, please. For those who don't know what he pleaded guilty to, I will quickly show you one more time here, and then we're done. With the sentencing of Jarvis Butts, my word, I was so ready for this trial, but I don't know if he thinks he's protecting himself by pleading guilty like this, because the inmates are going to know. They're going to know. So, Jarvis Butts entered a guilty plea in 6 cases. This was part of a plea agreement for him, right? So that's why there was no trial. If there was a trial, and it was going to be live streamed, which I think it was going to be, we would have watched it together. So, he pleaded guilty in 6 cases. So one, there's the case numbers, was a 7-year-old, so a then 7-year-old female victim, a then 4-year-old female victim, Annette Harris, and that was a 2nd-degree murder charge. It was downgraded as part of this plea deal, right? A then 8 or 9-year-old female victim, a 13-year-old female victim, and a then 8-year-old victim. So those are all victims of sexual abuse, okay, from Jarvis Butts. And then on top of that was sexual abuse and murder of Annette Harris, right? And as they said, now the judge said that this, he literally said it's part of his plea agreement, is as to count 1, 35 years to 60 years in MDOC, no contact with Annette Harris or family of Annette Harris, agreed to provide truthful statement regarding the body of Annette Harris. So he might not be able to point them to where her body is because it might be completely destroyed, for all we know. But yeah, it sounds like he has to make a statement about that. Maybe he has to write one, say one. I don't know at what point he'll do that or how they're going to get that out of him, but it's part of his agreement. Otherwise, that falls away, I would assume, right? Letterer Barbero said concurrent. Why? This is the worst kind of crime. Outrageous. And it's so bad because it has already been in prison for so long before. So like that should be an aggravated factor. I mean, LWOP all the way. How on earth can this guy get out as part of this plea agreement? I mean, he's 43 years old now. So if he serves between 35 and 60, I mean, he'll be 78 if it's 35. You know? I mean, it could be less based on, I don't know, good behavior. Who knows what the hell, or percentage of what he should serve. I really hope not, because he is a danger, not just to society, but to the most vulnerable in society, like children. If he can go as far as to abuse children, but also his own, that's wild. That's like, oh my goodness, please, please protect children from people like him, right? Okay, well, I really appreciate you following this case with me and watching this sentencing with me. Again, please check out the playlist so that you can get all caught up on everything that we've done. We did, see, the woman of the house testify. We talked about all that. So the teen's body has never been found. Teen never seen again after this. That was a detailed timeline we did. Text messages, shocking text messages that Jarvis had sent to Naziah. So there's that evidence as well. Women of the house testify. We saw 2 of them make victim impact statement. Detailed timeline. Where could he have hidden her? We were looking at the map and the radius and where her, it was like a bus card, right? Or an ID card was found. All of that. And now the sentencing. So please go and check that out if you do want to get all caught up in the case. I'm just so glad that justice for Naziah was served, but I don't feel like it's enough. I don't think it's enough. But anyway, he will be in the inmate's possession soon. So, thank you so much for watching. I will see you all again soon tomorrow. I'll see you tomorrow for Corey Richards for the charging conference. If you missed that, state rested, defense rested, and tomorrow we'll watch the charging conference and closing arguments on Monday. So we're going to teleport now to tomorrow's live stream, okay? Bye everyone. Thank you, mods.